In this video, I'm going to be talking about Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. And so I'm really talking about a whole time period from December 10th through February 6th. So from December 10th, 2022 through February 6th, 2023. Now, Mercury isn't actually going to be retrograde for that long. This video covers really the whole Mercury retrograde season. So from the pre-shadow, the actual retrograde phase, and then the post-shadow. So during the pre-shadow, we're paying attention to things in our environment, our life, our experiences, relationships, certain matters, and certain incidents that happen and come up. And taking note of those things because they very well might come up during the actual time that Mercury is retrograde, and then we go back and then we reflect and we review and go inwards and go into the unconscious mind and really get into metacognition. And then the post-shadow period, after Mercury stations and starts to move forward, we integrate all those things and we sort of tie up any loose ends that need to be completed. And then when Mercury leaves behind shadow and enters a new part of the sky, and it moves on through the later degrees of the later or earlier degrees of the given sign that it's in, or signs, because Mercury can be retrograde in more than just one sign. Sometimes it starts as retrograde in one sign, and then it dips back into the late degrees of another sign. So in 2022, Mercury started going retrograde in the air signs and then moved back into the earth signs. For the whole entire year, starting with this retrograde, so for the whole entire year of 2023, Mercury will be retrograde in earth signs only. Just that one element. And earth is the element of practicality and getting grounded and getting serious with the matters of your life. And I'll certainly get into that more when it comes to this video. But so let me break down the timeline for this whole entire larger Mercury retrograde season. So Mercury is already in Capricorn. It entered Capricorn on December 6th. So just yesterday, it entered that sign. And so Mercury is going to be entering its shadow on December 12th, 2022. And the shadow, the retrograde season officially begins when Mercury lands on, or is at, 8 degrees and 8 minutes of Capricorn through January 18th. So Mercury is going to slow down, and then it's going to station retrograde, and then it's going to move back forward for January 18th. So both Mercury and Mars will be retrograde. And so both of those are personal planets. And so 2023 really begins on a reflective note where we're going inside ourselves and, cleaning up whatever needs to clean up, healing wounds, resolving things, reevaluating our lives, ultimately. So the retrograde phase, December 28th through January 18th. Then Mercury goes retrograde, it stations retrograde on December 28th, 2022 at 24 degrees and 22 minutes of Capricorn. And so fast forward to January 18th. Mercury is going to again be at 8 degrees and 8 minutes of Capricorn, and it will station to go direct on that day. And then on February 6th, 2023, Mercury will be at 24 degrees and 22 minutes of Capricorn, and it will leave behind the whole Mercury retrograde season and will move on. And we really all feel that, that moving on energy around that time. Hopefully there is that, present, and Mercury is moving on, and it really is, a reflection of all of us moving on in some way or another. So, with Mercury retrograde, Mercury only appears to go retrograde from our perspective here on Earth. So it's, going in that motion from what we can see and understand about Mercury. So what is this particular Mercury retrograde season about? Well, Mercury is going to be retrograde in Capricorn. Mercury is going to be in Capricorn. So this deals with goals, our goals, because Capricorn is a very goal-oriented sign. It deals with projects in our life. And it deals with, the 10th house, because all the different houses in astrology from the 1st to the 12th house corresponds to all 12 signs. Capricorn's the 10th sign of the zodiac, so it's right up top, near the top. And it deals with the 10th house, which is your work and career and status and how you want to be seen in the world. And it corresponds to the midheaven, which is your career and the highest that you can achieve in this lifetime. And so our minds are going to be focused on our work. So what we're doing, really. And, as Capricorn, there has to be value, and, there has to be, results. Like, this has to pay off. Whatever, we're doing needs to, be, legitimate and practical, and its results and what we're really doing needs to be, in place and, stable and efficient and something that will serve us for the long term. Because that's really so important for Capricorn. What will serve me for the long term? So, Capricorn's about focus, determination, and commitment to whatever you are achieving. It's represented by the mountain goat. So the goat starts at the bottom of the mountain, and then step by step, one foot in front of the other, climbs up to the top of the mountain and achieves success. So, we might find ourselves very determined to achieve whatever we want to achieve, whatever we want to accomplish. And, there's that aspect there. And, we're going to be, we might be really reevaluating and evaluating. So the evaluate is, the actual, when Mercury is direct, and I like to say that the reevaluate is when Mercury is going retrograde, because if you think about retrograde, any verb that you can find with re at the beginning of it, apply it to that Mercury retrograde. Redo, restructure, examine, relaunch. And you name it, the list goes on and on. And so, what do we truly want and need? What's really worth doing? That's the question. And because this retrograde is occurring around, this retrograde season is over the winter holidays, Christmas, and having fun and celebrating with family and exchanging gifts and all of that. And then the retrograde also occurs during when we're moving into the new year of 2023. And so New Year's are times of celebration, times of acknowledging the new year and having fun. And, um, it's, New Year's are special occasions. And so don't get caught up. My advice is to not get so caught up in the negativity of, this is how the reality is, this is what I need to do, and only focus on the restriction, limitation, challenges, demands, pressure, and work, and the not so fun aspects of life, but to just from time to time, just again, have fun and enjoy life. Um, and so, relieving ourselves of pressure is another theme with this, of always having to be the best, of always having to show excellence, of always having to, go all in and, do the best and be totally motivated and driven at all times because, nobody can give their best at all times. And so, you know, I think that this time is going to be a real window for us to cultivate self respect and self love. And Capricorn is about in the future, what am I going to do next? And Mercury, which is your mind, the planet of communication. And so, Mercury in Capricorn is about planning and strategizing. What is the next right thing, the next right action? What is practical to do in the future? And so this is a great time to evaluate our lives and what will and won't serve us for the long term. I said that earlier. It's a time for putting in the work, getting motivated, as I said, committing to whatever you need to do, and looking at where are you responsible. What do you need to step up to the plate and be responsible for and play your bit and show your contribution, and show up for people if there's any obligations, or anything like that, and really knowing um, you know how can you be of service, and asking what am I good for, how can I make a difference and contribute and you know do something productive and very earthy. So, in what area of life needs work and improvement? What have you been putting on the back burner? Where are you not putting enough emphasis or attention, or time, effort, or energy into a certain area of life? You can find where this Mercury retrograde falls in your own natal chart. So we might be really, examining that, and looking at that very deeply over this time, over the course of this retrograde season. And so Mercury in Capricorn, so Mercury in any earth sign is about thinking practically. It's also about getting grounded and slowing down your thinking, not, being all monkey mind and, crazy and, stressed out and, scattered and unfocused. And, it's about, slowing down, breathing, connecting to the earth, and, really getting real with yourself about your thinking and your mental health and your state of mind. And before you make any big decisions, think it through. Is this right? Is this going to end up, am I going to end up in disaster, or is this going to pay off? Look before you leap. So that's important, and that's, I hate to say it, but, protocol during, Mercury retrograde season, and I have, some thoughts about that. I'm just stating, facts here. And so, as I said before, it's a great time to relaunch past initiatives, projects, or goals, not to start anything totally brand new. But, this idea that, I started this, initiative, fizzled out. And now I think I'm going to go back and, relaunch this because, I'm feeling that inspiration again. And, yeah. So, if you are starting any brand new things or making any big decisions, make sure that, necessary, details are, taken into account, and that, things are, secure, and that it's going to work, and that you, that everything, that parachute isn't going to just crash down into the sea, but it's actually going to support you and keep you up in the air. And so, it's also a great time since Capricorn rules tradition and the way that things have always been. Sort of the family lineage and, history and, laws. It also rules top-down governmental structures, which Pluto in Capricorn is breaking down to break through at this time. And we're going to get a little bit of a break from that starting in March of next year. So, it's also, a really great idea is to connect with people that are older and wiser than you, and to, gain knowledge, guidance, and wisdom from them. And also, something that should be taken into account is, how is your relationship with authority figures? So this is a parent, this is a, policeman, a teacher. Is there conflict? Is there separation? Is there tension, or, are you not getting along? Is there, are there power struggles? And, a word that begins with RE, which is a verb, is resolve. So you can resolve those issues and strengthen and grow relationships with authority figures, connecting with them on a, deeper and more profound and, in a better, kinder, more loving, appreciative, and open-hearted way. So the aspects that are going on during this Mercury retrograde season in Capricorn. So the first aspect that I want to talk about is Mercury trine Uranus. This is going to happen 3 times. So, you can mark a calendar or just, press save in your mind or note this down, but this is happening 3 days, December 17th, 2022, January 12th, 2023. So that's the same day that Mars stations to go direct in Gemini, and January 29th, 2023. So that's when this aspect is happening. So, those are the dates. So again, December 17th, 2022, January 12th, 2023, January 29th, 2023. So this aspect is about discovering new things, being open to new ideas and learning new information, and watching this video, reading this book, discovering new things. Well, I already said that before, and and reading, watching a documentary. All those things are really good activities to do at and around the times that this aspect will be exact. And so you might have, radical ideas, flashes of insight, an idea. Wow, this is revolutionary, a light bulb moment. I've never thought of this before. Here's my idea. And because Mercury and Uranus are both in Earth signs, how can this idea be applied, put into physical manifestation? What is going to be the earthy, solid results of this? Does this actually work? Taking an idea that comes from your mind and, putting it in reality. Is important. Also meeting new people and engaging with new people, learning new things and, conversing with them and interacting with them, networking with them, sharing your ideas and listening and being open to their ideas as well with whatever, situation that it may be about or topic or subject area that it may be about. And so the other aspect is Mercury making a sextile to Neptune. And I should say also Uranus is a planet of, revelations, revolutions, rebellion, freedom, the unconventional, the new, sudden, out of the blue type things. And Mercury sextile Neptune. And know that trines as well. I want to go back to this. So Mercury is in Capricorn, Uranus is in Taurus. Capricorn and Taurus are both Earth signs that are different Earth signs. So that would mean that it would be a trine. If two planets are meeting up in signs of the same element that are not the same from one to the other. And then a sextile is if you have, one planet in an Earth sign, for instance, one planet in a water sign, either one planet in Earth and another in water, or one planet in air and another in fire. That's what a sextile is. And so Mercury is in Capricorn, Neptune is in Pisces. They're two signs apart. They sextile each other. Neptune is the planet of dreams, fantasies, your imagination, spirituality, altered states, empathy, and compassion. And so the dates that Mercury will be sextile Neptune will be December 24th, 2022, so Christmas Eve, January 1st, 2023, and February 6th, 2023, the same day that Mercury will leave shadow. And so this is a great aspect for creativity, getting the paint brushes out, painting a collage or painting or drawing something, writing a novel, writing a poem, composing a song, listening to music, meditation, and, in any kind of, spiritual practice, praying, journaling, surrendering to a higher power, pulling out your oracle cards and gaining, meaning and guidance of, I'm asking this question, then I'm getting suggestions and wisdom as to what I should know for this day or whatever your question may be that you want answered when you're pulling an oracle card. And other spiritual practices are as well. The energy is very appropriate for, for doing those spiritual practices, and using your imagination as well. That or the days that this happens, or around the days that it happens, and when this aspect is, in general, going on, be it, when it's exact or when it's not exact, and when it's not exact. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that you have a wonderful and, um, meaningful retrograde season, Mercury retrograde, in Capricorn, especially during the retrograde, but just the whole Mercury retrograde season in general. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you found it helpful. Please like this video so that it can get out to more people. Share this if you think that someone would find interest in, or gain something from this information. And subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos from me. And because this feature is getting more equalized and it's getting out to more people, I highly encourage you to follow my community tab, where I share posts, and I also write posts. This can be announcements, updates, spiritual, messages and lessons, life lessons, astrology, both current and, predictive forecast astrology, or in general astrology, quotes and other things, in the community tab of my channel. And thank you for watching. Bye for now.